in the way that I intend, but I want to make sure you're receiving it that way as well, and hear any comments you might have on that, and then a little time to reflect about being pointless people. Let's do communion first. How we doing on that?
I like the addition. It's meaningful for me, and I appreciate that you invite us to do it when we gather in person, well, in person, in Zoom in the morning worship, and that there's a difference between doing it here and doing it apart if you are watching it later. Right. It really the theological focus on our purpose of coming together and communing together.
Right. Thank you. Yes, that for me is very important. It's the sacrament is intended for those who gather together as the community of Christ, sharing in that body and blood. So
it was very meaningful for me this morning. It always is, but especially today because I was able to have communion with my 2 grandchildren.
Yeah. Yeah. And your puppy.
Yeah, puppies. And right. They were the kids, you know, they knew what was going on.
Yes. Good.
And that was very special. I'm ready to get back in church.
Well, sure.
I am too.
Sure. Sure. We are. But until we can.
Yep. This is good. I enjoy
those of you
it.
who are choosing not to, I hope you don't feel this is leaving you out in some way. You have every right to say it's just not for me, and I will be still. There is Lily, and I bet Oliver's back in there somewhere.
That's Lila.
Lila
and Oliver.
I'm bad at names, Lila. I'll get it. Lila and Oliver. All right. So anything else? We will continue this. The reopening or reassembling task force is working and still has some things to hammer out, but we will see what we're going to be able to put in place as we go forward. Okay.
One more thing, just a little point of Zoom protocol. I had one late joiner come in and the name showed up as support, and it's probably fine, but it just triggered a bell in my head that support is a name that would somehow possibly be used to message somebody and ask for passwords and things like that. So if you ever get a chat message from support or whatever, don't hand out your passwords or anything on chat. And the only support you should be getting for this Zoom meeting is from Sanctuary or CVLC Columbia. Those are mine and Tom's accounts. So just, I didn't get a message back from support when I asked them who they were. So I don't know, but just watch out for things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. How about today, worship? Thoughts?
Okay. I want to say good morning, Jane.
Hey, Betty.
Hey.
Betty, I have to introduce you because not everybody's met you. Betty Maddox is a long time friend of ours who was the dietitian, nutritionist in the assisted living home where my dad was, and she took amazing care of him. And so we've been able as a family to stay together, and she's family. So we're delighted, Betty, to have you join us. So I know you want to say something.
Well, I just wanted to say I really enjoyed the sermon this morning, the communion and everything, and I saw a lot of new faces today, and hopefully I'll be able to get myself there. Yep. I'm still trying.
We're working on getting her to show her face, but she'll get there. She will get there. So welcome, Betty. We're delighted that you are here.
And I like
welcome, Betty.
And I'd like to have y'all to put me on your prayer list, okay?
Yes. We need to just add Betty to the prayer list. We will do that, Betty.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. All right. Other thoughts about worship today?
Thought the concept of keeping score that was a new one. I mean, I guess in the past I had thought of it more from the standpoint of just God being so generous, and that, you know, kind of, I see a lot of parallels between this parable and the prodigal son, or whatever
Mhm.
term you want to use for that parable. Because I think a lot of us are inclined to see ourselves as the son who stayed home. And a lot of us we tend to see ourselves as the vineyard workers who went early.
Yes.
And, you know, maybe I'm a late arriver. I mean, I feel like when I think back of mindsets that I had and viewpoints and worldviews I had 2-3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm a late arriver on a lot of things. Not that I view myself as being someone who was necessarily mean and nasty, but maybe I just wasn't
Mm-hmm.
receptive to different views. Maybe I just didn't have an appreciation for things that other people are going through, people who are lesser in our society. So maybe I'm a 5 o'clock arrival.
Yeah. And you know
You're
what? I
not
think
a,
if we're honest, most of us are.
you, you're not a late arrival. You just discerning and growing.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Anyone else?
I want to piggyback on that. I was thinking about, I often think of that is me or us thinking that we should get what we deserve. We worked hard, our work ethic, etc. But there's a little bit different. There's a different shift when you say, "Am I keeping score?" And I mean, there's some similarities, but I want to reflect on that this week in terms of my expectation and my attitude around some things.
This
And I
come.
think
I've got this noted in the sermon that'll be published. This comes from a book called "Pointless People," a little pamphlet written by Daniel Erlander, and there are several other stories in that book as well. But these are the first two that set the stage um, for "Pointless People," and he ends with a story going to the nursing home where his mom was and very ill, and listening to the nurses say, "That's one of her boys." And he said, all my titles, all my degrees, all those things that I carry around so proudly, they just said that's one of her boys. And so, yeah, it's a good little book. Anybody else?
Oh,
I think it's just a different economy when we think about, you know, and I think your point was, or the point of the keeping track and keeping score is that's the world's economy, and God's economy is turned upside down and completely different, and
Right.
trying to see that everybody has worth.
Countercultural.
Yes.
Yeah,
My
I think
dad, my dad taught me, and it's taken me a long time to learn to do this, is don't attack people, but attack issues. And we tend to equate those two together. That doesn't mean we can't find common grounds when we attack issues.
Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you for today. Wednesday, we will start looking at the Apostles' Creed, 6:15. So enjoy this beautiful day. Stay safe. God bless.
all right, good night.